Unchained, but not the Unchained you know from back in the day if you played the cash format, because trust me, I played that deck and I bricked a lot. Bricks are still kinda in the deck, but if you are familiar with Unchained, you immediately know, okay, it's a lot less now. We do not play Rakea since we have a lot of potential normal summons. I mean Lacrima, we have some Cerama, we have Lurry, and if you play Rakea on top of that, you just get a lot of weird hands. So after like the first day of testing, I immediately cut that card down. We do not play the shitty DD cards, which I never liked, but I get why they were played back in the days like it was 100 years ago. 2 years ago was it? Oh damn, time flies. Doesn't matter. We do not play the DD cards and it's clean. We have a lot more new one-card combos in the decks thanks to Engraver, thanks to Fiendsmith in general, and the deck is consistent, it's very strong going second. In the last Forbidden and Limited list, Sharara came back to 2. I mean back, it was at 3 before that, but the limit to 1 back in the days was way too harsh and early in my opinion, and that completely killed Unchained, like straight up. But that alone isn't the reason why I'm picking up the deck again. The reason for that is the new TCG support. Holy, people are sleeping on that. And in today's video I will not only show you the whole deck and talk about it, no, I will also show you the new combos I created myself. That means you will, I promise you that, literally not find those combos anywhere else. And they are straight up a FTK against like 90% of the meta. 2 Shavera, 2 best doggies. I love that card. It's one of the best cards in the deck, and if we could play it at 3, I firmly believe we would. 1 Shayama. The world would be a better place if that card could, like Arua, pop something from the hand. But reality is harsh sometimes. We play a playset of Engraver, 1 Lacrima, 1 Tracked and 1 Sanked. 1 Lurry of course, and the complete Fiendsmith package in the extra deck. And what can I even say here? That package is broken, even more broken than in Jubel in Unchained. It's one of the best extenders you can play. It bridges into the Unchained engine via Yama. It's literally broken. It's a one-card combo, it's everything. It's a board breaker, it's everything literally. No reason to play any less than that. There is maybe an argument to play more Sanked. I can see that, I tried that, but it was too much during my testing, so I believe that ratio is good. And just a tip, with Engraver, always search Sanked. The deck doesn't lose to Droll. Literally, you can make the same endboard under Droll as if you wouldn't be Droll. So the deck doesn't care about Droll, so please don't play into Droll by just adding Tracked. Tracked is here to search via Thrust, and maybe you have a good discard in hand for that anyways. Like you can search Lacrima, discard Shayama if you don't have a normal summon. There are some scenarios where Tracked is good, but always prioritize Sanked. We only do play 9 hand traps. We play Fubalos, Ash and Droll, so basically one of the best hand traps currently in the format so far. I don't like Veiler, I don't like Imperm. I believe they basically have no impact at all currently. I mean, you can try to Imperm a Raisin, you can try to Imperm an Ice Raziel, you can try to Imperm a Mitsurugi monster and see how it goes. Like, they don't do anything, so I straight up just cut them. And I believe that the ratio is fine. Unchained isn't really a deck that can't go second well. It's actually one of the best decks that can break boards via its engine, like literally, especially if a lot of interruptions currently the opposing decks have are destruction based. And we do play a playset of Thrust and Talents. Thrust is basically also a pretty good card that synergizes well with Unchained, since we can set one of the Unchained traps if we get Ashed for example, and then if we have Arua, Prison or Shavara in hand, we can just get a monster with Prison or just use Shavara or Arua and continue playing thanks to Thrust. Thrust is pretty good and it helps to go second. That deck is pretty good going second, trust me. So no need to play 20 hand traps. The deck's brute force is more often than not enough. A playset of Arua, and I talked to a few people and I saw people cutting Arua down to 2. I'm not saying it's wrong, people do that because, well, basically back when Unchained was meta, Arua had a lot of cards it can combo with. I mean, we basically played a full playset of both traps, so basically 6 traps. So Arua had way more combo potential. That's not right now anymore, but it still is a pretty good card. And during my personal testing, my play testing, I had a lot of hands where I thought to myself, damn, if I now had Arua in hand, that hand would be busted. So in my opinion, in my personal preference, I prefer 3 Arua, and I mean we have 3 cards you can pop, we have 6 cards you can pop with 5 monsters that are exactly doing that, and we have Thrust. So I don't believe the ratio is so bad if you play a playset that it's unplayable suddenly. No, I believe it's fine. 1 Cerama, we need that for the combos, but oftentimes you can just also normal summon Cerama and it's fine. You can combine that with the other cards in your hand and you can still have combo. It's a good card. Okay, now, the star of the show, the new TCG cards. And I don't know how to pronounce its name. It's probably Buyo, the Dawn's Light. That card is beyond busted. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can basically add Mutiny in the Sky, and Mutiny in the Sky is a miracle fusion for fiends or fairies with bonus effects that are pretty great in Unchained. And we also get a new fusion monster in Lose the Dusk's Dark, and I will talk more about that card during the combo. That card is giga busted in Unchained. It also has a bonus effect that monsters in your most left monster zone and most right monster zone can't be destroyed by card effects, but that doesn't really matter with that card specifically. The better effect is that even if you draw it, you can target a fiend monster you control, negate its effects and then special summon it. So it's basically an extender. But Trinity, if that card is so good like you say, why are you only playing 1 copy? Well, technically I'm playing 1, yes, but if you look closely, you realize I'm playing 4. I play a playset of tour guides, and tour guides now can special summon Buyo, which is a lot better than the Rhino monster, since the Rhino, if you drew him, you basically have a brick in hand, but Buyo on its own is actually a good card and an extender. And before people comment on that, yes, I know that there are versions with 3 Lacrima and no tour guide to basically have Lacrima as the normal summon. Personally, I do not like that and I disagree with that. I believe tour guide is better because of various reasons I will explain later during the combos. A playset of Prison. It can basically be a substitute for either the trap or a monster. So if you draw the Prison and trap or Prison and monster, it's combo. 1 Foolish, and it surprises me a lot why a lot of people are not playing that card. I believe it's very good. It can either be a Shayama, so an Unchained pop, or it can be a set trap, or it can be literally the Miracle Fusion. That card has such a high quality in the deck that I would not imagine myself cutting that. Miracle Fusion, that card is beyond busted. We can literally fuse into everything except of course for Necrocrypt, we make that during the combo, but we can fuse into everything, and especially Aerial Eater and the new fusion monster, they are broken. On top of that, if that card is in the graveyard, you can send 1 fiend monster from your field or your hand to the graveyard to add it back to the hand every turn, which is beyond busted for the follow-up, and it's very good to get basically bad draws or cards in your hand like Shayama you would rather want in the graveyard into the graveyard. A cool thing you can do is, if you go first and your opponent has no monster on board, or if you go second and you are on that roll and your opponent made Thrust live, you activate Thrust, set that card, then you use any Unchained effect to pop that card, and then via its effect you can just send a fiend monster from your hand or field to the graveyard to basically get Mutiny in the Sky to the hand. So even if you can't add via Thrust, it can basically search Mutiny anyways. Talents and Thrust, I mean, I basically explained that already, right? Now we have Called By. Called By is just a good card. We have another out for Fuvalos, which we have 7 of. I mean, we have 3 Ash, 3 Droll, and Called By. Droll, literally, you don't care about that, like I mentioned, so if you Droll yourself, you can literally go full combo. 2 Chambers and 1 Escape. I do play 2 Chambers because during the combo, there are combos where you end on a Caesar, which has Shayama and Shavera as material. And if you cycle through both traps, which you do in a specific combo, you can't really set a card if you activate Caesar and detach Shavera, which is really bad for the follow-up. So I just play a second copy of Chamber. You can't play 1 and 1 if you do not care about Shavera and the detach in the opponent's turn, but I do care about that, and I believe like 3 traps is fine. There are some arguments I saw for Escape, and I also experienced myself that you can play 2, it's fine. Even under Fuvalos there are some lines where if you have Escape, you can basically give the opponent 0 draws and end on a lot of good interruptions and follow-up. But if you have Thrust for that also, and it's just, you have a lot of weird draws if you stack up on too much traps. So I believe that you only need to play 3 traps. 41 main deck cards, unlike it was during the cash format, because during the cash format you had to play so many bad cards that players decided to up the count to 45, maybe even more sometimes. I do not like that. I believe as it is currently 41 clean, it's pretty good. Now we get to the extra deck, and I believe firmly that if you play Unchained like that with the new fusion spell, Buyo and stuff like that, that is literally the perfect extra deck. Do not play any other ratios. We of course have the Fiendsmith package, basically the complete. We have Sequence, we have Desiree, we have everything. Then we have SP, of course, because of Rage. We have 1 Rage and 2 Yamas. 1 Yama for the combo. There are combos where you can cycle through 1 Yama, then use its graveyard effect and make another one, but that is a very niche combo and you don't usually do that. The second Yama is purely for the follow-up. You can add anything you want from the graveyard, and then if you pop something, you can banish it from the graveyard to reborn basically anything you have. So 2 Yama is very good. Anguish, I love that card. You can use it basically to bait anything you want. It's free, since during the combo, if you can make Anguish, you basically have used 0% of your combo potential. So once you use Anguish, your opponent has to react, and you can always play after you have used Anguish. And if Anguish goes through, you go into Abomination, and Abomination is broken. If your opponent breathes, you can literally quick effect pop a card. You can use it to crash, you can use Yama to reborn it. It's very, very good. 1 Underworld Goddess, you can make an endbot with that. I do not believe it's worth it. I believe it's very bad even. But I mainly play that to out maybe towers. I mean, Lunalight is obviously the best example for that. Or to just out maybe a Dragoon if it gets pushed. Like, you can spam the board multiple times during the combo with a lot of fiends. So it's just free to use it. 1 Caesar, best card in the extra deck. Necroquip Princess, and Necroquip is pretty good. A lot of people don't know that, but you don't have to use a Fiend monster card on the field. What I mean by that is, if you have Yama and you go through your Fiendsmith combo and you have a Lacrima equipped with Requiem, you can send Lacrima and Shayama from your hand to make Necroquip Princess, which means you get a free Shayama basically always during your combo, if it of course doesn't get interrupted, to the graveyard if you draw it. Something the Unchained version back during the cash format didn't have. 1 Aerial Eater, that card is beyond busted. You can make it in multiple ways, either with Sequence or with Mutiny, and if you do that, you can either pitch Shavara to get the Fiendsmith, to get Unchained combo, you can pitch Buyo to then get another fusion. It's broken. You can banish it to basically special summon it back again. You can use it as level 6 to go into Caesar. That card is also one of the best cards in the extra deck. Now, 1 Desiree, we do not play Paradise. I hate that card. I know it's okay, I know it's good, I know there are some lines where you can perfectly fit that as an extra interruption, but I do not believe it is worth it for the possibility that you draw that. Like I mentioned, we already have a lot of weird draws in Shayama and Abominable. I mean, Abominable can be fine, Shayama is always a weird draw, and I do not want to up that count. So far, every time I got through my combo, I won anyways. People are not able to break that end board, and even if they break a little bit and pass their turn, the follow-up that deck has is unbeatable, literally. It's like Malice. You have a trap set via Shavara, you have the fusion spell in your graveyard, which then you can go into the card we will talk about in a minute. You have Fiendsmith in the graveyard, you have Lacrima and Requiem anyways, you can just pitch an Engraver, you don't have to pitch Paradise. If you can't kill that deck, the punch you will get in the following turn will most likely knock you out. And I have tested the deck with Paradise. Yes, if you draw it, you can pop it, but you'd rather not, okay? It's a good card, I can see that. Personally, I do not believe you need that card. One of my new favorite cards, Lose the Dusk's Dark. It only needs 3 Fiend and or Fairy monsters. Don't worry, we can make it via multiple ways. I will show you that. I make him during the 1-card combo, I make him during every 2-card combo. It's actively an endboard piece. It protects your most left monster zone and your most right monster zone completely from card destruction. So, if you put Lose in the most right zone and a certain card named Caesar is in the most left zone, a lot of meta interaction currently the opponent's decks have, they aren't working at all to break your board. I mean, let them summon Raisin into Caesar to pop Caesar, let them summon Murakumo, and then they will realize, oh boy, that board is harder to crack than a walnut. It also has an ignition effect that you can target any card your opponent controls, then you can send any fiend monster from the deck to the graveyard to pop that targeted card, which is very good. And there are some lines where even if you get nipped, you get rolled and nipped together, and you can still, just because you hold Mutiny for a little bit longer, you can still do the same end board you would have done anyways. Nibiru and Draw literally do nothing. That card is beyond busted, and you will see everything in the combos. On top of that, it also has another trigger effect that if something you control gets destroyed by any means, so if you have Shavara in hand, which one combo has, and you use it to pop anything on your board, you get an additional pop out of loose. That card is very good. The one Tour Guide one card combo, the reason why I do believe that Tour Guide is a better normal summon than Lacrima is that it isn't as streamlined as Lacrima. Your opponent doesn't immediately know that you go into Requiem, and they basically know your whole combo if you normal summon Lacrima. So it gives you an additional push without using up your Fiendsmith resources. I really do like that. But do not get me wrong, Tour Guide has her upsides, her downsides, the same as Lacrima has her upsides and her downsides. So maybe it is not crystal clear which normal summon is exactly better. It's just my personal preference and my playtesting that showed me that I prefer Tour Guide as a normal summon, and I believe it's better, yes. And people are getting jump scared by Tour Guide. If I normal summon Tour Guide going second, going first, it doesn't matter. They don't know what I'm playing. Some people thought I play BA, and luckily for me I didn't play BA, since I wouldn't have won those games if I would have played BA. So people are just... they are scared of Tour Guide and they stop her by any means possible. And the good thing about Tour Guide is, if they stop Tour Guide, you lost nothing. You haven't used your Unchained combo, you haven't used your Fiendsmith combo, so you can still go into Lacrima, you can still go Tracked, you can still go Lurry, you can still go Requiem. Everything that wouldn't have been possible if they interacted with Lacrima. And I really do like that. Tour Guide gives you just, like I mentioned, an additional push. Both cards, Lacrima and Tour Guide, both are really bad into Fuvalos, so in that regards it doesn't really matter what you play, but Tour Guide is a lot better into cards like Nibiru, a lot. Normal summon Tour Guide effect to summon Bueo to the field, and now we do link into Yama, not Closed Heaven, Chainlink 1 Yama, Chainlink 2 Bueo. And yes, at that point in the combo, a Bestial, a Crow, the same as with the Lacrima combo, can really hurt. But any extender you have, any extender, let me just show you. I activate Mutiny is the next step, and with Mutiny I go into Aerial Eater. And if they know what you are trying to do, they will Crow something, they will Bestial something, but if they do that, they are completely cooked, since... first off, we summon Aerial Eater. With Aerial Eater we pitch Shavara, and Shavara will then set any trap you like. And the thing is, if they would have stopped the Mutiny and they used a Bestial, a Crow on some material you had in the graveyard, you can just, if you have a Fiend monster in hand, you can just use Mutiny, add it back to hand, set it, summon Aurora, and then you have Fiendsmith combo, which is basically still everything you wish for. If you have Foolish, if you have Thrust, if you have Prison, if you have any set card, maybe even another trap, they completely hand-looped themselves, because the combo then doesn't really change at all. And as soon as you go into your Fiendsmith stuff, they wished they would have held their graveyard interactions for those cards. So, it happened to me that people crowed, bestialed some stuff as a reaction to my Mutiny, but I never lost. I promise you that I never lost because of that. It was every time good for me. And now with the trap setup and Aurora in hand, we can now beat Nibiru by just going into the Fiendsmith engine. Requiem effect to summon Lacrima, Lacrima effect to pitch Engraver. And the Lacrima one-card combo completely dies to Nibiru if the opponent uses that correctly. And the Tour Guide combo, it doesn't care about Nibiru, it doesn't care about Droll. The opponent can literally have Droll and Nibiru together and your endboard is still the same. It's ridiculous. And now you activate Requiem, equip itself. I would not go into neck equip Princess. Yes, they can have Crow, but there are some game states where you would rather have a Light Fiend on board still instead of Necroquip. If you really need the draw, you can go into Necroquip, but then the opponent also can have a Bestial if he didn't use any against Mutiny. It's preference. Just for your journey, think about if you need a Light Fiend or not. I will now go into Necroquip, but keep that in mind that you can also just leave Lacrima as it is on board. And now we use Engraver, shuffle back the Closed Heaven. So this is the last moment they can nip you. If they nip you here, it doesn't matter. You can still make the same end board you would do now. I can make a video showing you that if you don't believe me, but trust me. It doesn't matter if they nip you here or not. If they do not nip you here, just make Caesar. Now we do use Arua, target the set card. Chainlink 1 set card, Chainlink 2 is Yama. And really important, since I had to redo the combo because I forgot that, you have to pop the Arua with Yama. So reborn Lacrima and then use Yama to pop Arua, so Arua can activate its effect to special summon Serama. Now you link Shayama and Lacrima into Sequence. Sequence effect to fuse into Lose the Dusk's Dark by using Arua, Aerial Eater and Shavara. Important, put Caesar in the most left zone and Lose in the most right zone, since you can now use Serama to target the trap, set the trap, and then a nice interaction, you can try to pop Lose, but Lose will protect itself, so you get the Serama set basically for free. Now you use Shayama popping the Serama effect to get Shavara back in rotation. Link Shavara and Sequence into Rage, and now you use Shayama to pop the Rage. Do not pop anything please with Shayama, do not pop your own chamber. And then you use Rage to get back the Shavara. That endboard is pretty busted. Mitsurugi can't destroy anything with Murakumo you control. Raisin normal summon into Caesar doesn't get the opponent anywhere. You can, whenever you like, use Shavara to pop the Shayama, so you can use Lose effect to pop any card your opponent controls. You have 2 summon negates, you have a lot of resilience in your endboard. If they want to out your whole endboard, they have to put in a lot of work. You have Chamber into Rage into SP, and if they normal summon Madlove and they think they are slick, you first of all have Shayama on the field, but second of all, if you have to use Shavara first or something like that, or they out your Shayama and you can't have Shavara for whatever reason, if they want to bounce your Caesar, you can chain the Lacrima in the graveyard, or do that before that, and then you have Requiem on the board. And if they normal summon Madlove, they activate Madlove to bounce, you can chain the Requiem to get the Lacrima to the board, and Lacrima will then be bounced by Madlove. So that endboard is literally unoutable by Vanquish Souls. It's really tough for the opponent to out that, and even if they use Talents take Caesar, you can on Talents chain Shavara, pop anything you control, pop Shayama, then they obviously take Caesar since they think to themselves, oh, I can negate Chamber, I can negate Rage. No. You can then use Lose to pop the Caesar they just took with Talents, so that board even plays around Talents. So far, no deck. Malice obviously not, Mitsurugi couldn't do it, Vanquish Soul couldn't do it. Every time I got to that board, even without Paradise, they didn't stand a chance. Alright, the old Unchained 2-card combo. Any monster that can special summon from hand, it can also be Prison, and any set card that can obviously also be Prison. We set the trap, activate Arua, pop the trap effect to summon Shayama to the field. Shayama effect, pop the Arua effect, summon Shavara. And now we go into Closed Heaven. Shavara effect, set the other trap you didn't pop yet. And now you go into Requiem effect, summon Lacrima. Lacrima effect, pitch Engraver. Effect Requiem, contact fuse into Necrocrypt. The same as before, if just listen to your gut feeling. I would sometimes go into Necrocrypt, sometimes not. It doesn't really matter, you can wait, you cannot wait, it doesn't matter. Engraver effect, shuffling back the Closed Heaven to special summon itself, and now it gets a bit tricky. Your opponent will 100% nip you here, because he knows if you go Caesar, you can still use Shayama, pop the trap and play from there. You also haven't used your normal summon yet, so they will nip you here. If they do not nip you here, you go into Sequence. And yes, I know what you think. What if they know the combo? What if they know your line and they just wait with Nibiru? Don't worry. Even if he holds, or even if the opponent holds the nip until the last possible moment, they still lose. It doesn't really matter. And I will show you why in a second. You use Sequence to fuse into Aerial Eater by using both Arua and Shavara. Aerial Eater effect to pitch Buyo. Buyo effect to add Mutiny in the Sky. Now you go into Yama effect to grab you a normal summon, which is Serama. And now you use Shayama, pop the trap effect, special summon Shavara. And that is the last moment they can nip you. And even if they nip you, you get the token, you have Yama in the graveyard, you have Serama as normal summon, and you have Mutiny in the Sky. I hope I don't have to tell you that it's still full combo. The rest is pretty simple. You obviously overlay into Caesar. Be careful, it has to be on the most left monster zone. Now you used Mutiny in the Sky to fuse into Lose by using Buyo, Engraver, and sequence. Now you normal summon Serama, activate its effect to set Escape, and then again you try to pop Lose, which I really like that interaction. Lose will protect itself, giving you the set for free. And then you link into Rage. And now you even have the same endboard as with Tour Guide, but on top of one pop you get one additional pop with Escape. So you can use Escape, pop Rage, pop a card they control, then Lose will trigger to pop another card they control, and Yama will bring back Rage. And even if the talents take Caesar, you can chain Escape, or you can just wait, and then if they took over Caesar, they summoned anything else, you can then use Escape, pop Rage, pop Caesar, and on rest you get another pop. And then Yama will bring back Rage. That endboard is basically the same as the Tour Guide normal summon, just a little bit better. And yes, obviously, if you get trolled, you can still pretty much make the same endboard. Troll is really bad against the deck. Yes, there are some hands, I never had one so far, but in theory, the deck can have a hand where Droll can limit the endboard, but even in this combo, it doesn't really matter. You still end on Rage, on Caesar, on the Pop Trap, on Yama. It's really good. See ya.